Hi friends, it's Leanne from Creative Wings, and I am here with you today to go through our next online kit that we have available, and it is called Welcome Home. This was the first project that we did in the shop coming back from the quarantine, and I knew in my heart I just wanted to do a piece that said Welcome Home to everybody who was back and creating with us, and to all of us for being together. So this is the actual piece. This is the piece that we used as our class example. Your kit today that you would have purchased from our Etsy shop will have a variety of different patterns, so it won't look exactly like this one, just like the kit that I have in front of me is a little different too. Everything to the right here, this is what is inside of your kit. You've got tons of different papers. You'll have blue and white paint, a brush. You'll have some flowers and some gems. You'll have a little bit of bubble wrap. And like I said, tons of different papers. And then to the left of our kit, these are the items that you may want to have with you to complete the project, which includes a Sharpie, a fine line or ultra fine point. Yeah, there you go. And scissors, of course, and Stays-On. You know we love our Stays-On. So when you receive your kit, you will have this 10 by 10 wooden palette. And you want to make sure before anything else that when you start your project, you have your hanging component or this rope at the top of your table, because you'd hate to get through it all and realize that it's upside down. This is what your kit will look like. You're going to have all of these different pieces, and you're going to have one piece of paper that is your template. So you're going to take all of these little pieces that are drawn out for you, and you're going to cut from your papers each of these components. Couple things I want you to keep in mind when doing that is just kind of plan ahead and make sure that you're using the designated papers for that piece. You're gonna have one piece that is a big green circle, so please go ahead and find that. You're gonna have a multicolor kind of house piece. You're gonna have another square piece that will fit your roof. For the word welcome, you're going to have a longer rectangular piece. Do not worry about trying to cut it as it appears on this handout, as it is kind of copied on here. The W and the rest of the word do not have to be connected. So you want to just do it in two sections. We'll talk more about that when we get to there, but I wanted to kind of bring your attention to that first. What you can do before you even begin your project is kind of match up your papers to the designated shapes that we have in our piece, and you can cut them out and you can even ink them. So that is something that you can begin to do before you really sit down with the video. I'll give you a little time today, or you can pause the video too to do that, but I wanted to let you know that. And this is how I cut them. I left a piece out of my kit so I could show you how I cut it. It does not need to be cut and then traced and then cut again. I actually just keep my paper, my print or my shape that's drawn out, and I cut it with the pattern paper all in one. So as you can see, I'm holding it tightly with my left hand, and I am cutting my shape, and it doesn't have to be perfect right on the line. You know how we handle most things in the shop. We just make it work. So you're gonna make it work. So as you can see, I'm starting to cut my tree, and I'm just following that line. I'm doing one cut, cutting both the pattern and the paper, okay? I wanted just to make sure you saw how easy it can be to cut it. You really don't have to cut all of your shapes and then trace them and cut again. So there's going to be my tree. There is my tree. The other thing that you're going to want to do with all of your pieces, and you can kind of see from my house and from my roof and these pieces here, is that I inked them really well, including my words, welcome. I inked those quite well. So, and actually I got a little messy with them, but hey, who's to say? We kind of like when there's a lot of distressing on them. So I'm going to show you really quickly how you can ink your pieces, and that's something that you can kind of do before you start the video or before you get into the project too. This is going to be the door for my house. So I take that piece in my hand, I open up my ink, which we love to use the Stays On ink in the shop. It's a permanent ink. It's that one that smells lovely. You can order this through Amazon. Michael's does sometimes carry it, but it's hard to get it from them. I don't find that they carry it in a lot of amounts. So sometimes when I go there, it's always sold out. So see if you can get it through Amazon. I strongly recommend this. This ink is permanent. It's not going to bleed if you choose to Mod Podge your piece or not. It'll be just fine. When you open it up, you'll have a protective covering on top of it, and then that's your ink pad. So this is my tree. My printed side is the green side, of course, and I want to show you how you just take that and just run it against the edge of your ink pad, and you can see how nicely that ink comes off on your piece, and it really will help everything kind of stand out. So before you begin your piece, you can feel free to go through these steps and cut all of your shapes out and have all of your supplies and materials out kind of like we do. And then you can begin your piece. So I've got all mine ready. We're gonna jump right in to starting our canvas and our next steps, okay? Okay, so we've got our wood palette. You have both a blue paint and a white paint. And I'm gonna start by opening up my paint. I'm going to use the foam brush that's been provided in your kit. And I'm gonna start with the blue. And I really just want to do a really sloppy, don't take too much time or put too much energy into this. Just kind of get some blue on the background. This is a very whimsical, welcome home kind of piece. You can, ultimately you could Mod Podge it and hang it on your doorway if you'd like, or you can leave it and hang it inside your home somewhere when people first enter. It's just a really sweet little piece. So I'm gonna go through this and I'm just doing a really messy, sloppy kind of blue sky background. And as you can tell, I'm not even painting it solid all the way around. I'm just, or from side to side, I'm leaving some areas where that wood is exposed. I don't mind doing that. I kind of like having that natural wood of this wood sign come through. I kind of like how that looks, okay? I'm also going to take, I've got my blue kind of messed up in there. I'm gonna take a little bit of white just off the tip of this and just kind of add some little white areas in my sky. I wanna make sure you can see that. Just to add some dimension into it, okay? Then here comes the brilliant part of it. We're gonna use our bubble wrap. And this is actually going to be, bubble wrap is an awesome tool to apply texture and to apply something different to your otherwise kind of plain background, right? Bubble wrap, as you know, has one side that is flat, and then it has another side that has those air, where the air bubbles are. We are actually going to use our same sponge brush. You're gonna dip it into the white paint, and you're going to paint it on the side where your bubbles are raised, where those air pockets are raised. You do not have to paint the whole entire square perfectly. You can kind of see I have only painted a small section in the middle. I'm going to take that, I'm gonna turn it over, and I'm gonna just place it just randomly on my palette. And then I'm going to gently tap, give it maybe 3 or 4 taps, lift that up, and I've got kind of a fun little abstract cloud. Again, this is a whimsical piece, so we're not really worried about it looking realistic. We just want to add a little abstract to it. If there's any area that you're like, oh, I'm not crazy how that happened, just go in there with your sponge if you'd like, and you can kind of blend it up. You can also use a baby wipe if there's anywhere that you're not crazy with your paint. Grab a baby wipe or a wet paper towel or napkin and just kind of mix it up a little. I thought I had a lot of white over there, so I kind of wanted to blend it in a bit. I'm gonna add a little more blue back here. Baby wipes are an awesome source of delivering paint to our pieces too, okay? So that's really it. That's all we're going to do for our background. I'm going to seal up these little paint things. If you have any paint left, feel free to use it on a project you have going on at home. If you don't, you can just throw those right out. And then you can keep your brush and wash that up, okay? So we're gonna start next with kind of starting to get our paper ready. And you should have a piece that's green like this, and it may be this shade, or it might be more of a brighter Kelly green color. We had a couple different options. It's a thinner paper, and what you're actually going to do is you're gonna kind of tear it in half. We're just gonna tear it straight down, okay? This is going to be the grass for the bottom of our piece. Now, once you've done that simple tear in half, you know, you've got like 3 sides of each tear or each torn piece that are perfectly straight and parallel. So that's what you're going to use on the bottom. But we want to kind of rough this up a little bit too, so it doesn't look as planned. And if you look at the sample, you can kind of see what I mean by that. I kind of tore a little rougher here, and then that second piece going down much lower. So I'm going to just take this and I'm going to be a little bit more just kind of a little more curvy in my tear. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this one, okay? Keeping in mind where my house is gonna go, that I want to make sure I kind of have a fairly good doorway or entryway for my door to be placed. So I don't wanna go too hilly on that piece on the left, okay? Once you have your pieces kind of positioned where you're feeling okay with that, we're actually going to take them and you're gonna crumble them up, because we like to add that texture. Kind of roll them in your hand a little and then open them up again, okay? And you'll see how cool that will look once we get it down. You're gonna do that with the second piece as well. Okay, and now we're gonna ink them a little. So we're gonna pull out our ink pad again. We're gonna ink the edges, all of the edges of this. And I'm even applying a little bit of ink on the sides that, like directly on the front of that piece where I've crumbled it, just to kind of highlight some of those peaks in that crumble, okay? And it just adds a little more dimension to the fields that your house is on. Okay. So I am gonna glue these down right now, but I'm not going to glue the top part of that piece all the way, because we're going to tuck our house and our tree under the green hill. They're gonna be under it. So right now, all I'm gonna do is take our glue. Oh, I'm sorry, and tacky glue you also need, or some sort of glue for this project. I didn't have that in the beginning of the piece, but this is actually something else that you will need. This is not provided in your kit, but you should have had that written on that little handout that came with your kit. So you should have that, or know that that was needed. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave the front part of my paper. I'm not going to totally glue the front part down. I'm gonna kind of leave that so that I can tuck my house under. But I love that texture. If you can see that texture that kind of came up from crumbling it. I actually got some blue paint on it when I was putting the glue on it, and I think it looks kind of cool. Just happy little accidents all the time, even in the shop, right? So I'm gonna add glue to this piece. And put that down. This is a pretty easy project. And if at any time you need to pause it so that you can catch up with me, feel free to do that. And then you'll just pick up where you're at. So if you have not cut out your pieces for your house and for your tree, this would be the best time to do it. Right now, you want to cut them all and then you want to ink them all. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to put my pieces together And you can kind of follow along. There's not much direction with building the house once you have all of your pieces kind of assembled and ready. You're just going to kind of decide what side you want your window on, what side you want your door on, and you're going to start to just put everything down there on your canvas, okay? So I'm going to do that. Won't be much to say at this time. You can kind of follow me through as I glue these components, okay? So again, my house is going down and I'm gonna tuck it under that green grass. Right? Glue my chimney or my roof down. Now I think I may have forgotten to draw a chimney on your kit, but I just used the same paper from my front door and I just did a little rectangle. It doesn't even have to be a perfect rectangle. So just go ahead and add a little chimney to your roof. I have my front door. Once you've cut all your pieces out and you've inked them, it comes together really rather quickly. I'm gonna ink my hearts. I forgot to ink them and I do like to have all these pieces inked because it makes everything stand out. That's kind of like our secret in the shop. We love inking. You gotta ink it all. You should have a little corrugated piece, which you can use both as your gutter, so to speak, of your house. And then also you can use it kind of as a little trim on the windowsill or the bottom of the windowsill of your window. I love having additional texture in our pieces. That's one of the things I love most about paper crafting and making art with paper is just that additional texture and all of that you can add to it. And it just comes out so lovely. We did a tiny little heart for our chimney to come out of our chimney. So I'm gonna glue that down too. So without a lot of difficulty, our house is pretty much done. I can come back now and add a little more glue under the grass in front of our house. And I'm loving it. Yay, okay. Next we're gonna add our tree. So to do my tree, I want to kind of place my tree branch so I kind of know where my the leaves of my tree will go. And again, this is a whimsical kind of abstract tree. So yes, it is circles. And then I've got these little additional green shaded papers that will go on top just kind of to add to the whimsy. So I can kind of see where my tree is going to go. I kind of eyeball that and then I add my tree. And if you need to adjust it after it's glued down, if you do it right away, it should be pretty easy to just slide down a bit. I think I like this one even better than the sample I did. I just love it. Okay, I'm gonna glue a little bit of this top of the ground down now that my tree is placed, or my tree branch is placed. Then I'm gonna take some of these circles and kind of place them just in a very miscellaneous pattern to kind of add a little additional whimsy to the tree. Okay, and they can go over the branch, it doesn't matter. Adele is playing in the shop right now, so if you know me, you know that I really, really, really want to sing right now, but I'm gonna hold off on that and try to not make you at home subjected to my singing. Cindy's here in the shop right now. She's working on some kits and she's telling me to let it out because, you know, man, when I feel Adele, I gotta do it. So you can notice that I'm taking my hand, the whole palm of my hand, and I'm just laying it over that tree. At any point, if your paper does not seem to be fully sticking down, or if it's kind of curving up on the edge, you know, you're getting your paper wet from the glue, so it's bound to have like some bubbles or kind of rolls in it. But you can help adhere it by just holding your hand down on it, honestly, for like 30 seconds and then let it go. Anytime I tell somebody that and they do it, they're like, oh, okay, that worked. So just go ahead and do that. So our tree is done. We've now got to add some words, and we have our welcome, which is all cut up for us. Oh, and that's interesting, and I'm not liking my, my chimney because my W is gonna blend right in. Isn't that the truth? I wonder what I did with this paper. I think I may have thrown it out, but I'm gonna pull my chimney and see if I have this paper in the garbage over there. And let me see if I have that paper. I do, look it, and I didn't even have to move because I just said it and Cindy went and got it. So I'm gonna use the paper from my house to match my chimney. And you may have kind of seen that. This was the chimney that I had. That was the same as the door, which I like repeating that. But the minute I put my W up here, it totally got lost by that. It didn't stand out. And we want it to stand out. That's the whole point of the message. Welcome, welcome home. So I've gone ahead, Cindy's gone ahead and she's recovered my paper for me. And I've just cut a little, I've revised my chimney and I've now cut it with this, which I think will look really great, which will stand out from the W and will, and totally work with the bottom of my house, right? I actually like that more. So now when I put my W on, it doesn't get lost. It totally kind of stands out. Does that make sense? Yes, okay, good. So we got our welcome, and I'm not gonna glue it down yet. I'm gonna do the words home and just kind of get that position so I know where I want that to go. I kind of ended up doing my house a little bit higher, so home may have to go a little bit on this, but it'll be fine. Okay, so your home should be it's stamped out for you already on a piece of paper like this, and you're gonna go and just cut a little square. It does not have to be perfect, and these squares do not have to match. They can be an odd shape. They don't have to be a perfect square, okay? Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Cindy's the best, but you guys already know that. Okay. So here is my home, my words home. Now I'm going to ink each of them. So I have my ink. Oh gosh, I sure did ink it, didn't I?